In this set of videos, we're going to take a look at restaurants. So some functional language all about eating in a restaurant. Let's get started. So one of the most enjoyable parts of visiting a new country or even living in a new country is trying the local restaurants. And I know from my experience living in China and also living in Colombia that's one of my favorite things. I love eating in restaurants in different countries. But of course, managing the conversation with the waiter, with the staff, and also with your dining companions, the people you're eating with, can be a challenge. You have to know the right phrases, the right words to use. In this unit, we're going to learn all of the most important language you need to make sure your next visit to an English-speaking restaurant is a success, so you can impress everyone around you with your excellent restaurant English. And we'll see some tips about how to behave when eating out. So if that sounds appetizing, then let's get started. So there are some specific rules and expectations around eating out, eating in restaurants. And those will depend on the different factors like where you are, which country you're in, the type of restaurant you're in, who you're with, and many other things as well, okay? But there are some general tips that hopefully you'll find useful. So we're going to look at these tips, and as you know, I don't always just give you the information. We work together to find out the information. So you're going to decide if you think these tips are true or false. Okay? For example, this first tip, you should avoid asking questions about menu items. True or false? And we have 7 tips altogether. So what I want you to do is pause the video, read the 7 tips carefully, and decide if you think that each one is true or false. Okay? Pause and have a try now. All right, very good. So let's go through and see each tip one by one. So the first one, it's definitely false. Notice that when it's in black, in bold, that means it's going to be false. And the true ones will be in green. So it's absolutely fine to ask about the menu items. That's totally normal. It's normal to specify any special dietary requirements you have. That's true. So if you are allergic to something, if say you're allergic to nuts, it's absolutely okay to tell the waiter, sorry, I'm allergic to peanuts, or I'm allergic to cashew nuts, or whatever it is. Okay? It's not usually necessary to say please and thank you to the waiter. False. Actually, we should say please and thank you to the waiter. It's pretty rude in English-speaking countries if you're not polite with the waiter the same way that you're polite with your friends and the people around you. So we think of everyone as being quite equal in the way that we talk. So you can't just say, you, do this, get me that. You have to be more polite. You have to say please, you have to say thank you, you have to say, would you mind, da 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 da, okay? Making a polite complaint about the food is acceptable. Now, this is true, and the important word is polite. Because if your food comes and you go, oh, it's disgusting, that's not polite, and that's not okay. But if there is a problem with your food, whatever problem it is, if you express that politely to the waiter, then that's okay. That's a reasonable thing to do. You always give your honest opinion about what your dining companions are eating. So, no. If someone around you is eating like, let's say I don't like salmon, for example. And if someone else is eating salmon, and I say, oh, salmon, disgusting, then that's pretty rude. That's not a good thing to do. So, my mum used to say, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. And I think that's true here. If you don't have anything nice to say about what the other people are eating, just don't say anything. It's typical to split the cost of the meal equally between everyone. This one, it really depends. So there's no general rule here. Sometimes people will split it equally. Sometimes one person will pay. Sometimes you'll pay just for the things that you've had. It really depends. And it's a little bit awkward, but that's an important thing to discuss. It's better to ask your dining companions before you order. How much you should tip depends on the country. True as well. So it's different in different countries. For example, in the USA, you're expected to tip 20%. In the UK, where I'm from, 10% is more normal. So it really depends on the country.